serious question. Are we good with the ladder?
Yes.
There's no one's got a problem?
No.
Because this is the point of no return, all right? Once we leave this chamber, we're doing the tour, so I need to make sure. Now, we're going to start with some geology. I hear you guys have been studying all this, so I expect you all to be experts. A bit of cramming, what's that? I'm going to tell you that Wombeyan Caves is fairly unique compared to other cave areas around New South Wales, because on this particular reserve, the majority of our bedrock is marble. All the rock you saw coming up the hill, all the rock at the top of the hill, bare rock on the ceiling, it's all marble. It wasn't always marble though. It started its life as limestone, and limestone's made from seashells and coral. They've actually been crushed together by the weight of mud at the bottom of the ocean, and in Wombeyan's case, the original limestone was formed around 400 million years ago. That's known as the Silurian period. About 350 million years ago, the limestone on this particular reserve was lifted out of the ocean to form mountains. But it was suddenly buried by hot volcanic ash from the volcano areas to our north around Urandry. And this ash literally pressure cooked the limestone, and that transformed it to marble. As I'm sure we can appreciate, marble and limestone really is the same rock. All marble is crystalline limestone. Now, rainwater came into the story. The rainwater washed all the ash away, but it also dissolves limestone or marble. So it made all the small cracks and joints in the mountain into larger ones. It formed underground river systems and produced the caves. So I suppose, to put it really simply, whenever we do a cave tour, all we're doing is having a look at a very old river tunnel. Now, when the river was flowing through here, it's about 60 metres below us these days, but when it was flowing through here, we didn't have too much of the crystal decoration you can see. Most of the decoration tends to come along after the river's left, by rainwater once again coming from the surface to the cave, dissolving some of the bedrock and carrying that rock into our cave. If the water droplets decide to hang to the roof for a long time and leave the dissolved rock on the roof in the form of calcite crystal, well, then we get a formation growing, which I'm sure you've all heard of, perhaps you've seen, we call them stalactites. You'll see lots of little stalactites above our heads. If the water falls to the floor and leaves the rock on the floor, we get the other ones, stalagmites. No matter where you look, you see one, but just for ease of pointing them out, there's a couple just here. And when stalactites and mites join, they're then called columns, and I think that's a great example just there. However, if you look around, you see it's not the only column. We do have quite a number to view at this point. In this one chamber only, when I point to those and call them columns, I'm not being really honest. In reality, what we're looking at here are the taproots of trees. We're very close to our side. It's not uncommon to find trees in caves and they can calcify. That's exactly what happened. Because one of those common questions we get every day down here is, did the Aboriginal people use the caves? Well, the answer is no, they didn't. In the dream time, they believed the cave was formed by a half-worm, half-fish creature called Gurugach. Gurugach had a problem. The warrior was hunting him. So to escape the warrior, he burrowed into the mountain, he made the caves. Now they thought if they got caught in this dark area, they would meet Gurugach or other evil spirits. So they had nothing to do with our dark environment. They did use outside regularly. This was a trading zone. This is where all the different tribes used to cross paths purely for trading purposes. Now, Europeans stumbled into the caves in 1828. Two fellows, John MacArthur and John Oxley, were credited with finding Wombeyan. As I'm sure a lot would be aware, John Oxley was Surveyor General in New South Wales, and John MacArthur, of course, the pioneer of the wool industry. That's what they were doing out here. They were simply looking to open up more pastoral land for MacArthur and his sheep. Now, we became a reserve in 1865, and we were the first reserve in Australia dedicated specifically for protection of caves. Now, this cave was also found in 1865 by a fellow called Charles Chalker. To find this cave, what he did was fairly simple. We came up the hill just like you guys today. Probably without some of the wind. Maybe it was windy coming up there. There's a reason I ride a bike occasionally. And he saw the hole in the ground. He thought, oh, I wonder what's down the hole. So he got a piece of rope and a candle, lit the candle, stuck it in his teeth, threw the rope into the hole, and away he went. He found this cave. What I thought I'd try and do for you is show you the way it looked for the first time. Now, I do need a favour. I need all of you to stand still. Yeah, she got the idea. You're all pretty big kids. And we used to run candlelight tours here till a few years ago, and we had to stop when we found a bit of a problem occurring. We found all of us, no matter what age, were born in the wrong era. We go to a lot of trouble to explain how to use candles. Now, you didn't just carry a bare candle. You you actually carry a can holder. And a can holder is a lot like my torch, except the shaft is probably that long, and the head is about that round with a lip. And it used to break in the middle. There was a spring in the bottom, candle went to the top, spring fed the candle up into the head of the holder, and you would carry it like the Olympic torch. Now, where we found the interesting stuff happening is we'd go to a lot of trouble, believe it or not, to explain how to use this thing. We would get into a cave. Personally, I think it looks like a lot like a beehive. Now, behind the golden fleece, this area doesn't have a name. If you have small children on the tour, some people do refer to it as a very retreat. It is quite lovely. Discussion we had at the start. To understand how this was made, you need to look at the roof. And if you look at the roof, you'll see the old river passage in here. Now, when the water got into here, it found the rock very hard. As you all probably know, water is extremely lazy. It will only ever do the easiest of things. Instead of continuing on as a stream, it found it easier to form a great pool. Now, the pool was so large, the single roof spag couldn't hold itself up, and it collapsed. This chamber is made by collapse. Now, believe it or not, it's not all the rocks on the floor that give this away, it's the walls. If you have a look, you'll see these walls are very flat. That's where the rock has broken at a joint line. If the walls were all scalloped, looking back towards the golden fleece is a really good example. If the walls were all scalloped like this, that's where your pool of water was lapping and dissolving the rock. So if you look around, you can actually see the boundaries of the collapse. If you're really clever, you'll tell me that there's more than one pool. And you'll be exactly right. Who was clever? Yeah, mate, there's always really one on the This wall here went all the way to the floor. And there was a pool of water over that area and a pool of water over here. Now, besides dissolving down through the rock, these two pools were dissolving through the centre wall. Well, one day that wall lay in the mountains. For example, where we started the tour, older the cave. When you're really deep in the mountain, where we're going after this, younger the cave, because where the underground streamway is running today, it's making a cave. So I think between 2 and 4 million years is close enough. To understand the crystal, what we need to do is look at 2 different appearances. Now, the first one is the one that everyone loves. You think it looks like a poodle? The first one is the sparkle. When you see the crystal sparkle, we say the crystal is dormant or asleep. There's no water on the surface, so the light's reflecting off the faces of crystal. So if you see it sparkling, you know straight away it's not growing. Now, I think you'd all agree, you've probably seen it up to now, you walk along and there's crystal that looks like wet candle wax. If it looks like wet candle wax, that's active crystal. There's water on the surface, leaving crystals behind, so that's growing while we're in the cave. Which means in a cave you have active and dormant formation. Now, there's nothing to say that active won't turn dormant or dormant turn active. It all relies on the stopping and starting of rainfall. Because every formation stops and starts growing according to rainfall, and because every single formation you look at in the cave has a different water source, no one can give you an exact age on anything, because everything in front of you today is growing at a different rate. Now, they did some dating, and they said to us when we talk about the age of the crystal, we should express it in averages of tens of thousands of years, not always hundreds. From everything I've learned, I'm really...
There you go. Alright, now go downstairs. Alright, now go downstairs. Fail. Oh, I just...
What if it's just fell?
I like the connected.
Please show me again. I didn't hear my head. I'm like caving into because my phone and the top of my head. It's like
Step.
oh,